How's it going, everybody? Welcome to our Week 4 predictions video. Just a little recap of last week. Gunnar and I both went 10-6 on our predictions, which brings the season total up to me having 29-19, and Gunnar is at 30-18. So still really close, but Gunnar's ahead by one game.
Averaging 10-6 a week.
Pretty good, actually. All right, so we're on to week 4. It's Thursday, meaning we have Thursday night football between the Detroit Lions and the Green Bay Packers. So the Lions had a very good win over the Atlanta Falcons last week. The Packers won also in a very ugly game, but a nice comeback against the New Orleans Saints. The Packers are obviously dealing with a ton of injuries this year, and the Lions defense looked really good last week.
Packers do, I think, officially have Aaron Jones and Christian Watson playing tonight, so
which is good.
Pieces back.
But unfortunately, David Bakhtiari is out on IR. I just think the Lions are a better team right now, so I'm going to pick the Lions. Gunnar, do you agree?
I have the Lions also. They're a better team, even though they had that fluke loss, but...
it's a tough game. Lions Seahawks is always a good matchup. All right, next we have our first London game. So Sunday morning football, we have the Atlanta Falcons taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Falcons got pummeled last week. The Jaguars also kind of got pummeled last week.
Yeah, that was a tough loss.
What's going on with Jacksonville's offense? It's crazy. They're dealing with like a crap ton of just dumb mistakes. The Falcons, they couldn't really get the run game going against Detroit's defense, but I don't think they'll really have that much of a problem this week. Gunnar, who do you have? I'm interested to hear this.
I have Jacksonville. They have a bounce back. They're in their home stadium, and the Falcons they're due to be bad this year, so I got them. I got Jacksonville.
First game in Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I will take Jacksonville also, but props to Atlanta. We'll see how their run game does this week against the Jaguars offense. All right, next up, this is a terrible game. We have the 0-3 Minnesota Vikings against the 0-3 Carolina Panthers. Yuck. Panthers lost this week to who'd they lose to? I totally forgot, to be honest with you. The Panthers.
They lost to the Seahawks.
Seahawks, that's right. Yeah, they lost to the Seahawks by pretty big margin. Obviously, Bryce Young wasn't playing. Minnesota Vikings lost again this week. They should have won because Brandon Staley is a dumbass. But they did lose, and they dropped to 0-3 on the season because they lost to the Chargers. I mean, this game is just gross. I'm going to pick Minnesota to win in a landslide. But if they go 0-4, so help me. Gunnar, do you agree?
Bryce Young's coming back this week, but I don't think they're hot. The Vikings, if you look at it in a fantasy perspective, Kirk Cousins like number 1 for fantasy points. Justin Jefferson's top 5 for receiving points. So they have a better offense, their defenses each.
Oh yeah, no doubt about that. Yeah, both teams have bad defenses.
I got the Vikings.
Yeah, makes sense. They just have the Panthers' offense is pretty bad. All right, we have another 0-3 matchup, everybody, between the Denver Broncos and the Chicago Bears. The Broncos, oh my God, got a 70 burger dropped on them by the Miami Dolphins. Jesus, that was like the worst, quite historically, one of the worst defensive performances ever from a defense that was top 10 last year. It's crazy. Chicago Bears got blown out too against the Chiefs. This was almost destiny to be the worst game. It's crazy. Thank God this isn't in prime time because this is such a prime time game. Shoot, I don't even know who to pick. Both of these teams are god-awful. Gunnar?
Bears are worse. Justin Fields he might be out. I don't know if he got a concussion or not. Broncos look decent on some of their drives. Russell Wilson's played pretty good this season.
Yeah, he hasn't even played half bad. I know he had a pick last week.
If the receivers stop dropping the ball, I got the Broncos this week.
Yeah, Cortland Sutton fumbled it, twice? That's crazy. I'm going to pick Denver also, hesitantly. Both of these teams suck, but I think Denver still has potential to be good. Chicago, I mean, they're a dumpster fire, and it's not even a quarter of the way through this season. It's so wild. I have Denver also. So Gunnar and I are all on the same page so far. But we have a good game up next, an AFC North showdown between the Baltimore Ravens and the Cleveland Browns. Both of these teams, have good defenses. I know the Ravens just lost in overtime to the Colts. But, that's what happens when we have John Harbaugh coaching in overtime. The Browns destroyed the ever-loving crap out of the Titans this week. I mean, the Browns probably have the best defense in the league right now, to be honest with you, or one of. This is such a good game. I don't know how each quarterback's going to play. Both Lamar and Watson have been kind of not that great this season. I know Watson's numbers were good last week, but he made some bad decisions also. I'm going to pick Cleveland, to be honest with you, even though I have Lamar in fantasy and I want the Ravens to win. I'm going to pick Cleveland because of their defense. Gunnar, who do you have?
I got the Ravens. They're going to have a bounce back. They're going to win. Obviously, Brown's out with Nick Chubb for the season. They got Kareem Hunt, but I don't think he knows the playbook.
What do you mean? He's been playing there forever. Nothing's
really...
really
changed.
Here's the thing. Half of the Ravens roster is injured, so...
Yeah, but if they're all healthy, it's not like...
Even if some of them are healthy.
Status. I got the Ravens bounce back.
Interesting. All right, so there's our first difference right there. Next up, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the Houston Texans. The Texans upsetting their rivals, the Jacksonville Jaguars, last week in a very convincing win. Stroud looks great. The Steelers beat the Raiders last week in prime time. The Steelers defense the Steelers offense is not impressing me. Like they look really bad. And I mean, look at the game they had against Cleveland where they had 2 defensive touchdowns, which ultimately ended up making them win the game. Pittsburgh's offense looks terrible. Matt Canada needs to be fired yesterday. But I don't think Houston will win this game only because of the Steelers defense. I'm happy for Stroud. I like what I've seen this year from him, but this game I don't see Houston winning. Gunnar?
Stroud he's going to have a couple picks on that Steelers defense. They're going to eat him up with their trash offensive line. I got the Steelers by a couple of scores.
Yeah, Houston's offensive line's really injured, which makes you think, how did they still destroy the Jaguars? Unreal. All right, next up, we have the Los Angeles Rams taking on the Indianapolis Colts. The Rams almost got by against the Bengals, but ultimately they couldn't get to it because I think Matt Stafford got sacked, 6 times? It's crazy. The Colts, overtime upset win against the Ravens. That was pretty cool. Anthony Richardson's most likely to play on Sunday, which is good. That'll be nice to be back. These teams, they can kind of hang in games. I am going to pick the Rams just because I think they're a bit better. Gunnar, do you agree or no?
I have the Rams. They played pretty good against the Bengals. Their offense is a lot better. Richardson is coming back, but he got banged up the last 2 weeks before, so I got the Rams.
Yeah, only concern with the Rams for me is their offensive line. It looked really good in the first couple of games, and then they just broke against the Bengals pass rush. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. All right, divisional matchup, the NFC South between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the New Orleans Saints. The Saints gagged a game against the Packers last week. They were up 17-0 in the third quarter and lost. I know Derek Carr got injured. He will not play this week. The Buccaneers lost against the Eagles. I mean, it's the Eagles. Of course they did. But I like what I've been seeing from the Buccaneers. Mike Evans is still making unbelievable catches. I have the Buccaneers in this one. It sucks that that Carr is injured. We'll see how Winston does, but I still have the Bucs. Gunnar?
I have the Bucs. They needed their bounce back. Carr is out. They do get Kamara back, but he's been out for so long. So I got the Bucs.
Yep. All right. Speaking of divisional matchups, we go now to the NFC East between the Washington Commanders and the Philadelphia Eagles. Gunnar and I were at the Commanders game against the Bills last week. Oh my God. What happened? Sam Howell got sacked 9 times, threw 4 interceptions, one of which was a pick 6. And then Antonio Gibson fumbled it. Brian Robinson had 7 yards of rush, which was good, but I don't know why they kept throwing the ball. What were they doing?
What were they doing keeping Fat Baker Mayfield in?
Just a lot of incompetence for Washington. Philadelphia, they destroyed the Buccaneers in prime time on Monday, so I'm going to pick the Eagles. I feel like that's a pretty safe bet.
Eagles have a better or same defense as Buffalo. they're gonna eat.
Yeah, oh yeah, that defensive, yeah, trust me.
I got them in fantasy.
So,
they're going all the way.
Poor Sam Howell. I feel bad for him, but, they're playing the Eagles twice a year, so sorry. All right, next up, we have the Cincinnati Bengals taking on the Tennessee Titans. The Bengals squeaking out a win over the Rams. Their offense continues to look bad, just overall bad. Joe Burrow is still not playing well. The Tennessee Titans, Derrick Henry got held to, 20 rushing yards? It's crazy against the Browns. I feel like they're going to face a similar thing this week with the Bengals offensive line, who played really well. Sam Hubbard and Trey Hendrickson. You have those kinds of players there. So I'm going to pick the Bengals in this one just because of their defense shining last week. Tennessee's in trouble. Gunnar.
Give me the upset of the week. Give me the Titans.
Whoa, we got an upset. Gunner's picking the Titans a second week in a row. I feel like that's a terrible idea.
Derrick Henry's going to eat.
Who knows? Who knows with Cincinnati this year? They've been so weird. Is Joe Burrow going to have a breakout game? Is he going to keep continuing to be lukewarm? Like, who knows? It's so weird. All right, we have a hell of a matchup here between the Miami Dolphins and the Buffalo Bills. Both of these teams, but yeah, this is the game of the week. This is the best game on television this week. Both of these teams annihilated their opponents, especially the Dolphins. Like I said, 70 points. You heard it. The Bills also beating the Commanders last week, 34-point victory in that one. Both of these teams are hot. The run game looks good for both of these teams, especially the Dolphins when you have that duo of Mostert and Achan. You have both of those guys. Jalen Waddle will be back this week, which makes their passing game only more deadly. The Bills' defensive line continuing to get better with 9 sacks last week. This is a great matchup between two great teams. I know who Gunner's going to pick. So, Gunner, just get it out of the way. Who do you have?
I got the Bills. Dolphins are due for their loss, and it's going to be a heartbreaking one, too. It's going to be a close game, but I got Buffalo.
Oh, it's absolutely going to be a close game, but unfortunately, I'm going to pick the latter. I mean, when you drop 70 points on a team, I don't think that train stops anytime soon. But if any team's going to stop the Dolphins, the Bills are probably your best bet. Their defense is looking really good, but we'll see how their passing game or their pass defense does. Unfortunately, I'm picking Miami, but I already made this bet with Gunner. If the Buffalo Bills win on Sunday, I will drink that disgusting concoction that Josh Allen made in that Pepsi commercial.
Pour a little of that sauce, mix with celery, leave it in there for a little garnish. Step 4, enjoy your new favorite drink. 3 words, blue cheese rim. This is wrong. I don't want to be right.
I will drink it. I will record it, and I will post it on YouTube of me drinking it if the Bills win. So I'm hoping the Bills win. Love to try the Josh Allen potion. All right, now we're getting into our 4 o'clock games with the Las Vegas Raiders and the Los Angeles Chargers. So this is a divisional matchup. The Chargers, congratulations, you won. Woo, you did it. Brandon Staley continues to be a terrible head coach. Speaking of terrible head coaches, Josh McDaniels calling a field goal when he needed a touchdown last week against the Steelers and their loss. This game is bad. Jimmy Garoppolo, I know he was in concussion protocol. I don't know if he's going to play or not. He probably will. But if he doesn't...
I don't think he can clear the protocols in time. It's like 5 days after symptoms.
Yeah, I know. So it's still up in the air. Brian Hoyer is most likely going to start. So I'm going to pick the Chargers just because Justin Herbert continues to play at an amazing level. But they are missing Mike Williams, which sucks.
But maybe their new rookie receiver can get some time and prove he's the real deal.
Josh Palmer also had a good game last week, too. So I'm picking the Chargers.
I also have the Chargers because I don't think he's going to play. And if he does, they haven't looked that good. Josh Jacobs against the Bills held to nothing. Last week, I don't think he did anything either.
No.
So.
I think as long as run was like 10 yards, like he's had a bad year so far. I mean, having a negative 2-yard rushing game against the Bills.
Chargers do have a good D-line, though, so I think they'll hold Josh Jacobs. And then their secondary, if
Putrid.
Yeah, if Garoppolo does play, I don't know. I got the Chargers, so.
Yeah, both of us have the Chargers. All right. Next up, we have the New England Patriots against the Dallas Cowboys. You lost to the Cardinals? You show like two of the greatest defensive performances that we've seen, and you lost to Josh Dobbs and the Cardinals? Crazy, Dallas. New England won 15-10 against the Jets. Of course, that game was going to be terrible. This game, I have Dallas winning, but yikes, I still can't get over that. Like, come on, Cowboys.
Dallas
Really?
is due for their bounce back. New England's been barely scraping by.
Yeah.
Or they scraped by last week. That's their only win.
Well, yeah, it was the Jets, and it was Bill Belichick, so of course he was going to beat them. But my God, Dallas, they're going to use New England as their punching bag this week. Oh my God. All right, just 3 games to go. We have the Arizona Cardinals against the San Francisco 49ers. Both of these teams won last week. Weird. The Cardinals haven't even looked as bad as we thought they would so far. Like, the games that they lost, they weren't by that much. I know they choked against the Giants, but, you know, they had Washington for a little bit. The 49ers, I mean, Super Bowl contender as always.
They're unstoppable right now.
Oh,
I
yeah.
got the Niners in this one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It'll be a blowout.
Niners also. But props to Arizona. I love Josh Dobbs. I'm glad to see him playing so
I
well.
said it jokingly last week that they were going to win, and they actually did.
I know, look at that go. Because it just seems so ridiculous, and it ended up working. I was like, oh, get ready for the Cowboys defense to give me like 40 points in fantasy, and they got me 1. So, you know, any given Sunday. All right, Sunday night football. We have the Kansas City Chiefs against the New York Jets. This game was supposed to be good. Obviously, now it's not. Zach Wilson sucks. I feel bad for their literally everyone else on their team that they're getting brought down by Zach Wilson. Am I being a jerk? No, I'm a Bills fan. Of course, I'm going to say these things. The Chiefs. I'm sick of seeing Taylor Swift, but they destroyed the Bears last week. I mean,
They got a slightly better opponent this week.
I know, slightly better, but I mean, you're
better defense at least.
Yeah, I mean, both bad offenses. Kansas City seems like the obvious pick. Gunnar, if you agree with me, I'll go ahead and write that down. Yeah, I mean, I don't want this to be like the Cowboys game where it's like there's nothing else to say, but I mean, there's nothing else to say.
The Chiefs lose, they suck.
Yep, Chiefs. All right, the final game, we finally only have one Monday night game. Go us, finally we're free, between the Seattle Seahawks and the New York Giants. The Giants lost last week against the 49ers. Wasn't as bad of a loss as I thought it was going to be. It was still a pretty bad loss. The Seahawks beat the Panthers last week. Kenneth Walker had himself a game last week, putting up crazy stats. The Giants, I don't see them having that good of a season, just like I did last year. I'm picking Seattle in this one. Gunnar, do you agree?
Saquon's supposed to be back.
Yeah, but he's still super injured.
Kenneth Walker looks really good, and if it's down to the run game, I feel like healthier Kenneth Walker wins this one.
Yeah, because who has a better defense, Seattle?
Seattle.
Okay, and who would you say has a better offense, Seattle or New York?
It's pretty even. I mean,
I disagree.
They have a receiving core, but a trash quarterback.
I disagree. I think Seattle has a significant.
I think Daniel Jones is better than Geno Smith.
Okay, all right. I disagree with that, but that's fine. You know who wasn't disagreeing today? Gunnar and I, because we only have 2 games that we chose differently. I have Cleveland over Baltimore. Gunnar has Baltimore over Cleveland. And then Gunnar picked the upset of the week with the Titans beating the Bengals. So those were the only 2. Both of us split.
And the Dolphins Bills.
Yeah. Both
That's
of
3.
Oh, yeah. I forgot to mark them, I think. Okay, so there's 3 of them. I just hate rooting for Miami. Not like I'm going to. I just think that they're going to win. That's different. 3 matchups. Gunnar and I split on our differences last week, 2-2. Now there's only 3, so one of us has to win it. Thank you guys for watching. That'll do it for our Week 4 predictions. Let us know who you guys have. Any upsets? Do you agree, disagree? I would love for you to tell Gunnar that he's wrong in the comments. Make sure you subscribe for more NFL content, and card content will be coming out soon. We'll see you guys in the next one.